Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. I would like to thank the president of the U.S. Institute of Diplomacy and Human Rights, Mr. Manuel Onchia, and our moderator and founder of the USIDHR, Isabel Vladoiu. I hope I said your name right. And I agree to distinguished participants of this panel. So culture is an important branch of diplomacy in the sense that it's through and with culture that you can show some parts of what best exists in your country. You can make people understand your country better. Ultimately, it is a representation of your country. So during the hardcore COVID days, the cultural diplomacy faced a very difficult moment. We had to reinvent ourselves in all ways possible, but thankfully it is flourishing again. I'm going to talk a little bit about what we have done this year in terms of cultural diplomacy at the Embassy of Portugal in Washington, D.C. So as you might know, we recently had the presidency of the Council of the EU in the first half of 2021. Here in D.C., we decided to do all the events online because of the pandemic. So we had the launch of the presidency with a video of all the ambassadors of the EU saying a few words, a message from the ambassador of Portugal to the US, Domingos Fezes Vital, and the jazz concert. Each month we had a webinar on Zoom and a Facebook Live contemporarily. We started out by doing these seminars at the Embassy of Portugal, having important invitees from both sides of the Atlantic, and we ended up doing them with think tanks like the Brookings American Enterprise Institute, etc. The seminars were about the priorities of our presidency. So we had webinars on climate change, the digital transition, and then we also had some webinars with interesting topics such as the contribution of the European diasporas to the EU-US relations, global challenges, a transatlantic response to the present geostrategic context, the Biden's administration drug policy strategy, and lessons from Portugal. Every month, after each seminar, we had a concert. In 6 months, we organized 6 seminars and 6 concerts from different music genders. Still during our presidency, we also showed the Portuguese contemporary architecture exhibition for almost 2 months at Dupont Underground. I don't know if you know this multidisciplinary and versatile space here in DC. This exhibition was one of the most successful at that space. It was very daring because we were planning to do this exhibition during the hardcore COVID times. We finally put the exhibition up in the beginning of April, and it lasted until the end of May. The good thing was that we had 500 visitors only in the first weekend. People were really keen on going to events again after a year they were not allowed to. We also had, and still have, the presidency of UNIC DC, the DC cluster of the European Union National Institutes for Culture. With this group of 17 countries representations, we organized an interdisciplinary series of exhibitions that we gave the name A Window to Europe Through Literature and Art, at the Window Gallery in Parkview called Plain Sight DC. So 11 countries participated in this project, and each country was paired with a local visual artist, and each artist read the book from the country they were paired with from the Reader Project. The exhibition started on September 27th, and every 3 weeks it changes. In each exhibition, 2 countries are represented at a time. This series of short exhibitions will last until the end of January. It is a joint project between UNIC DC, Plain Sight DC, the EU delegation in the US, and the Reader Project. So what Ambassador Radovan was saying about the European identity, of course, Portugal also has a very strong European identity. So now we are on the third series of exhibitions, and you are invited to see the exhibition at Plain Sight if you would like. It's on Georgia Avenue 3218 in DC. So also with the EU delegation in the US and other EU countries, we organized the Europe Day on May 9th. We used to do the EU open house, where we would open our embassies to the public, and we used to have around 3,000 people visiting the Embassy of Portugal. With COVID times, that has been impossible, so we have been doing different events. This year, we organized the Virtual Scavenger Hunt, a podcast about sports and traditions from our countries, and the song from each country in a format like Eurovision. With the EU, we also organized the Kids Euro Festival in October. We brought 2 workshops for kids, one in person with a Portuguese-American artist about culture. It was a culture and art workshop where she taught some Portuguese traditions to the kids and how to make crafts. And the other workshop was a culture and music workshop online for public schools kids. So a famous fado singer taught the students about fado and sang also some songs. So we also have an identity with the Ibero-American countries as well. So with the Ibero-American countries, we organize typically 3 events each year. So we have the Gala, the Film Festival, and the Art Exhibition. With the COVID situation, we have been doing virtual events only. This year, we organized the Virtual Film Festival and the Virtual Guitar Festival that is still on. You can watch it going to the link at Ibero-American Culture DC Facebook page. With the Portuguese-speaking countries with representation in DC, we normally organize each year the Portuguese Language Day on May 5th, a display of crafts, gastronomy, music, films, literature. Every year we change it. We also organize our own events, of course, and this year we organized 2 days, 2 days creative writing workshop with a famous Portuguese writer. His name is José Luís Peixoto. So we also organized the Day of Portugal, Camões and the Portuguese communities. We have also done a virtual book launch of Fernando Pessoa's, a biography by Richard Zenith, with Richard Zenith, of course, and many more events. Just yesterday, we had a classical music concert by the pianist Nuno Marques with the International Club of DC, followed by a dinner at the residence of the ambassador, and it was in person. So yes, I would like also to ask the audience if they would like to know more of what we do at the Embassy of Portugal in Washington, D.C. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, and you can find almost everything we organize there. So you can find it by Embassy of Portugal, Washington, D.C., or Portugal in the U.S.